A couple of weeks ago, Mr. Joshua Bardwell on one of his live streams spotted KAACK on one of the Mayhem Racing DVRs. Let's watch this moment. I think that's pretty hilarious.
Like, is Min-Chan Kim able to get any faster? That's what I want to know. Is there any... Like, how could he be any faster? Like, look at his throttle percent up in the upper right. Why does his throttle say KAACK when he goes to 100%? How has he done that? Do you see that? When he goes to 100%, his throttle says KAACK. Apparently, he has a custom hex file to say KAACK at full throttle. That's really funny, actually.
If you know what is Betaflight KAACK mode, if you know all of its features and how to use them, there are many features. If you know how to flash unified targets, then save your time. There is a link to download for you in the description of this video. But please still leave a comment of how do you like this KAACK mod. Otherwise, feel free to use this fancy YouTube content menu to skip the sections you're not interested in. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I was recently replacing the ESC on one of my drones and I noticed like a little weird thing. Like you see, it's right here, like under the ESC. And, yeah, let's see. Oh, that's a pretty weird one. For some of you who don't know what is KAACK, let me show you DRL Instagram and one of the Alex FPV performances there on TV.
Alex all alone.
You're the only one up. Bring it up. You're the only one up.
We will have a sudden death.
With all due respect, boys, I'm about to do some flying. KAACK! KAACK!
Wow, I'm speechless.
KAACK!
What a race. We're now on board with Alex FPV.
Not KAACK.
He is keeping it cool as a cucumber.
Oh, you want a cat,
Alex
son?
is in the groove right now. He's now the only pilot to have finished all three of these heats.
It's official. Alex gets his second win.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, dog.
In this short video we're going to discuss a Betaflight mod that can measure your average throttle, your 100% throttle time, that has special OSD menu, couple more things, and that has your custom OSD warnings to surprise your friends, well, or make fun of them. DJI guys, this mod has DJI warning hack, but that's about it for you. Sorry, no canvas mode, no MSP OSD, you're out of luck. Analog guys or HD0 guys, I think you're gonna enjoy it. To use this mode, you need to flash a special unified target hex file. But let me call my expert who knows everything about special unified target hex files. No, that's not gonna work.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Min-Chan.
Oh. Hey, Mr. Limon? Yeah. The special unified target makes you go way faster. Definitely like 20 or 25%. That is true. Only with the special unified target.
Flashing a custom Betaflight hex file is very simple but important skill, especially for the testers. And it is important that now the procedure is slightly different from what we used to for the versions before 4.1. It is still very simple, but here's the procedure for Betaflight 4.1, Betaflight 4.2, 4.3, for the future 4.4, 4.5, 4.57, 4.58, 4.122, 4.123, 4.124. First of all, you need to figure out which microchip is installed on your flight controller. So connect to Betaflight configurator, and it's usually right there in the top left corner, something with STM32F7X2, for example, or it could be STM32F745, or it could be F411. So these are the numbers you need to remember. If you want to be a bigger nerd, then you can open CLI, type version, and then it will be right here after Betaflight slash and then your microchip version right here. Some flight controllers are not unified targets, instead they're legacy targets. In this case it will be Betaflight slash and then the flight controller name. instead of STM32 something something. So in this case, you need to remember that this is a not unified target, it is a legacy target, and you need to remember the whole thing right here. There are not too many legacy targets flight controllers, but for example flight controllers with built-in Express LRS SPI receivers, they are all legacy targets. But if you have like a regular like F7, F4 flight controller, chances are it is a unified target flight controller. After that, it is always recommended to save your current configuration like a backup. It is especially handy if you're jumping from Betaflight 4.3 to another Betaflight 4.3 like we're doing in today's video. To do that, you can use CLI tab diff all command, or you can use presets tab, save backup button right here at the top. It is the same as diff all, just faster, so you give it a name and click save. And you got your backup configuration saved. Now you want to download a custom hex file you want to flash. I will leave a link in the comments to this page, to this KAACK mode, and if you scroll down there will be something like assets. And you need to find here your flight controller. Well, in my case it is F7X2. If you have F745, please don't mix them, because F745 is a different chip and they're not gonna work together if you flash a wrong one. Now, if you are testing some other pull request or you're testing some other guy branch and you're not testing this KAACK mode, then of course you will have your own link to the hex files and they of course will be different. But the structure will be the same. It's gonna be like this, all these STM32F4, and then there will be a list of legacy targets. In this case, all legacy targets are in this zip folder. Sometimes they are like all expanded here too. So you just click on your binary, download it, and then you're ready to flash. Go back to Betaflight Configurator. And then in Betaflight Configurator on the Firmware Flasher tab, it is very important that first you click Auto Detect button. You make sure your flight controller is detected correctly. After that, I even like to click Load Firmware Online. I know even though we're flashing a local file, but it is still nice to click Load Firmware Online first, so that you can see that the binary this, but it will be replaced with our local binary. But the most important one is this unified target foxeer yada yada .config file. This is the config file that will be uploaded to your flight controller after you flash your local binary. And this config file has all the information about the pins on this flight controller. If you are flashing flight controller with legacy target, then this doesn't really matter, because for legacy targets all the pins are hard-coded inside the binary. So now finally you're ready to flash. You click Load Firmware Local, and then you select the file you just downloaded. For me it was F7X2, and then you click Flash Firmware, and then you just wait. After flashing is done, and when you first time connect your flight controller with Betaflight Configurator, do not forget to click Apply Custom Defaults, because if you don't, your flight controller is not going to work. And this is not the case for legacy targets, because as I said earlier, legacy targets don't need these config files and these configurations. If you want to know more about what's the difference between legacy targets and unified targets, Joshua Bardwell has a nice video explaining all that. It is about unified targets in 4.1, so it's pretty old video, but it's still correct. So go check it out. I will leave a link to this video in this stupid little thing in the description of this video. If you flashed a binary that is compatible with your previous Betaflight version you had before, then you can just click Load Backup, select the backup configuration you saved before, and you're all set. You don't need to do anything else. Well, of course, for safety you need to have your props off, and you need to double check that everything is worked correctly before you put props on, and like, you know, wear safety glasses, and you're doing it on your own risk and all this stuff. So anyways, be careful. But if you are updating from, let's say, Betaflight 4.2 to Betaflight 4.3, or if you are updating from a very old Betaflight 4.3 to the modern Betaflight 4.3, or if you are updating from Betaflight 4.3 to the future Betaflight 4.4, then you might have go manually through your saved configuration as a text file and pick only the commands you're interested in and you think they're safe. So that's kind of a little bit of more pain in the ass to update from very old version. And of course, after flashing, there is always an option to set up everything from scratch without using your backup configuration. Now, finally, let's dig into what kind of features this KAACK mode gives us. And later on, I might add more fun features, so keep an eye on this release page to stay tuned. First of all, you have to open OSD tab and find throttle position and activate it. You have to activate it, otherwise some of the internal logic is not going to work. Then on the right side, find post-flight statistics and activate all of these unknown 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and then hit save. This will give you all new fancy post-flight statistics. Let's see what is that. So every time you disarm and you finish your flight, you will see the number of KAACKs is how many times did you hit full throttle during your flight. Also you will see total KAACKs, and this is the total amount of times you hit 100% on this flight controller. So this will actually transfer from your flight to flight, and this number will keep growing. And actually you can find this value in CLI, so you can always, like set it to 0 if you want to reset. Also you will see KAACK time, and this is how many seconds did you spend at full throttle during your last flight. Also you will see total KAACK time, and this is how many seconds did you spend full throttle on this flight controller overall. And the last one I think is really cool. It is your average throttle percentage during your last flight. To use and change all of the other features, you need to go to CLI and type get extra. Get extra gives you all the extra commands from this KAACK mode. Let's go through them one by one. The first one in the list is not very exciting, but something that I like to use. If you set extra LED strip 3 colors to on, then your LEDs will blink with 3 colors, red, green and blue. Like that. The next one I think is pretty cool, extra OSD quick menu, which is on by default. It means that when you open your OSD menu, you will actually go into quick menu instead of main menu. In the quick menu you will have a quick access to your throttle limit, which some racers would really appreciate, that they don't need to go inside of this like rate profile and change it there. No, now you can change it right here. And also a VTX menu right here. And you can change your VTX channel very quick, and if you set it to something else, save and exit and you confirm, you see it quits from menu, so you don't have to go back to your channel and like exit from menu. So that's why it's called quick menu. Of course there is still, you can still go to main from quick menu, and this is like an old main menu. And also there's like a quick exit and quick save and exit from this quick menu. So everything is quick here. Then there is stats extra total KAACKs and stats extra total KAACK time. These are just the counters that go up by themselves, and you don't really need to change them unless you want to reset them to 0. Also there is extra 100% throttle, which by default is fast. It means that every time your stick reaches 100%, instead of 100% on OSD, it will say fast. And you can change this string to anything you want. So you can like set extra 100% throttle equal whatever you want, and it will be there. Also there is extra FC hot warning, and the default value, well, this is inappropriate default value, I'm sorry, but you can change it to anything you want. And by the way, if you don't want extra 100% throttle and you want like a default behavior for that, then you just set extra 100% throttle equal dash or like a minus sign, and then it will be just 100. So extra FC hot warning. Also we will have extra turtle mode warning, which is by default sorry Brian. It means that every time you're in turtle mode and you arm your quad, you will see sorry Brian. Why default value is sorry Brian? This is a very inappropriate story, don't ask me, but you can change this value to anything you want. The next value you can play with is extra low battery warning. By default it ain't leaving. It means that when your battery gets low, you will see ain't leaving, or again any string you want. You can just change it here. And the last one, but not the least, extra armed warning. By default it is let's go. It means that every time you arm, instead of like armed for a quick second, you will see let's go. I think this is pretty cool. Again, you can change it to anything you want. All these things look pretty fun, and you might ask why we don't add them to official beta flight. Well, I think the only function that deserves to be in the official beta flight is average throttle statistics. I think this is pretty cool. All of the rest one, they're really fun, but they occupy a lot of flash memory, and F7 flight controllers already almost ran out of memory, and we really want to add more features that, you know, more meaningful. So, but this is pretty fun, and I will keep updating this separate branch, and we'll keep releasing. So, for example, when Betaflight 4.3 officially released, I will rebase on top of Betaflight 4.30. Let's check the other features, or like little fixes that I've added to this KAACK mod that are not really visible from CLI. So first you can see DJI OSD warning. This is like a standard Betaflight hack for DJI people that like to see warnings. This one, CMS quick menu, we already discussed, and the next one is pretty minor. It sets the stats mean arm time to 40 seconds instead of default -1. And for people who already used like a pack counter in Betaflight 4.3, they already know what is that. It means that you guys don't need to go to CLI anymore and to set this value. Your pack counter will be working automatically. This little change actually has downside. It means that by default, every time you land, all of your settings will be automatically saved. And if you don't know why this is a downside for you, then don't even worry, because for 99.9% of people this doesn't matter. But if you know why it matters, then you're like a real nerd, and leave in the comments what is your guess why it matters for like 0.1% of people. But I can tell you this is not because saving takes some time, because when you disarm, saving is pretty quick. But anyway, don't worry about downside of this change. The next little change, I set failsafe recovery delay to 0 by default instead of 10. This change actually benefits for people participating in team racing, so that they can switch between quads faster, and the quad recovers from failsafe pretty much instantly instead of waiting for 1 second. And this is actually brings a little bit, just a little bit of unsafety, but really for most of people this doesn't matter. But like if you want to bring this value back, you just open CLI and type save failsafe recovery delay equal 10, and this will just change this value for you back to 1 second. The next one we already discussed, as well as the next one. Then changing default OSD background to black. I think this is self-explanatory. KAACK counter already discussed. More stats, average throttle KAACK time also already discussed. And the last one, but not the least, is a team failsafe CTZ fix. You need this fix for Betaflight 4.3 RC7, and only if you are interested in team racing scenarios switching between quads, and only if you are not using Immersion RC Ghost. This is a little fix by Mr. CTZ Snooze, and just don't worry about it, it just works. Like everything in this KAACK mod, it just works. And if you want, you go to CLI and change some of the values. And remember, you are using it at your own risk, so safety first. Well, like always with drones. Unless it's a tiny whoop. Nah, still safety first. You can like accidentally ghost antennas in your nose. That could be pretty painful. Well, for Tony Cake, because this is his signature. For the end of this video, I wanna just give some credits to the guys that gave me some ideas to make this mod. The first and the biggest credit is all of the guys in Heart of America FPV team. We raced together at Mayhem, and Mr. Shames, the father of Freedom Spec, he actually gave me an idea of making like a custom Betaflight with custom OSD warnings just for our team, and that's how all of this started. If you don't know what is Mayhem, actually Johnny5, Mr. MBA with 8,000 subscribers, he recently made a really nice video about Mayhem Team Racing, so yeah, go check it out. I will leave a link to his video in the description. The next one is Mr. Cole, our local guy at Drone Racer, and his funny idea was to implement an actual KAACK counter. After that, Mr. Nice, my regular expert in everything,
You're a shit pilot. Yes, you're shit.
figured out that it actually would be fun to know not just the KAACK amount, but the KAACK time and the total KAACK time. And finally, Mr. Evan, Heads Up FPV, gave me a very nice idea of calculating the average throttle during flight and show that value on the disarm screen. Thanks to Joe Mama, an expert freestyler, for testing my mod on HD0. And of course credits to this guy, because DJI OSD warnings hack is a straight copy from his repository. And of course, absolutely feel free to leave your ideas down in the comments, because I might implement some of them in future. Nobody knows except this guy.
Like and subscribe.
See you in the next video, if I am not lazy.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah.